Okay, let's look now at simplifying where it's multiplying and dividing. We've previously established that x plus 2x is 5x, which came from x add x being two lots of x where we don't write the multiplication. So, what about x multiplied by x? What do we do here? Well, this presents a new situation for us. But luckily, there is a rule for how you write things like this. We already have. That covers these situations. And there's also a similar link for these. Have you seen it before? This is 2 squared. This is 2 cubed. 3 squared and 3 cubed. 4 squared and 4 cubed. Now, why they're called squared and cubed I'll cover at another time. Feel free to watch the video on indices for clarification. Let's have a look at this then. So what would this be? This would be x squared using our rules for indices. So what would this be? Well, that would be b cubed. If I had 4 of them, it would be c to the power of 4. And then we say to the power of 5, 6, 7, and onwards. So, now that we've got that first bit out of the way, let's have a look at a more tricky one. Okay. Let's break this up like we did with the adding and subtracting simplify. What does this 3x actually mean? Well, it means 3 times x. And then on the end we've got multiplied by another 2. How do we deal with this? If you remember, we've looked at multiplication before and we found that 3 times 4 and 4 times 3 were the same sum. Because multiplication, the order doesn't matter. So let's change the order here and see if that makes it nicer. Aha. There's a sum I can work out. I want to write times x here, but I know that I can't leave the multiplication symbol in my answer. So it becomes 6x. Some of you will be able to see how we can go from that to our answer without actually showing all of those steps in the future. So for example, if I gave you 5 times 4e, some of you will straight away say that's 20e. What about 6 times 2 times 2a? Does it make any difference if there are 3 terms? The answer is no. 6 times 2 would be 12, and then 12 times 2a would be 24a. The big question for us is, what happens when we have things like 2a times by 3a? And we'll look at that now. So, let's take our terms apart. 2a means 2 times a. That's multiplied by another 3a. 3 times a. This multiplication that we could see in the original question is no different from these other two. Shall we put these terms in a different order and see what we get? Okay, that first section gives me 6. I'm confident there. What about a times a? So a times a will give me a squared. Do I want to leave this symbol in my answer? No, I don't. So it's 6a squared. Okay, let's try and build on this, sticking with just multiplying for the moment. Okay, 4 times a times 2 times b times 2 times a. In the future, you won't write all these steps out. You will just jump to the answer. But whilst you're learning, there's no harm in showing them. Okay, so we've written it all out and put them in order so we can collect them together. You can also do it by circling them like we did on the previous videos for adding and subtracting. Those 3 give me 16. 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 again is 16. The next 2 give me a squared. And then I have times by b on the end. If you remember from adding and subtracting, a and b are different numbers, so we can't just combine those terms. The same is true here. I nearly have my answer, but I've got 2 symbols that I don't like to include, so I'm going to write 16a squared b. A reminder that these steps are purely optional. You may be able to see from here to here. Now, I don't want to cover the whole of indices here, but I'm going to do one slightly harder question. So, 3 times a times b times 2 times a multiplied by what? So that's 3. And what's this? Well, that's b times b. Okay. 2 times 3 times 3. Tick those off. A and A. B, B, B. 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18. A times A is A squared. B times B times B is B cubed. Now division works just the same, but I'll show that in the next video. We'll tackle questions like 20AB divided by 4A.